Hello, I want to show you how to create a contract file, create a project, and create proposals or estimates in EuroJOC. Let's start out by opening EuroJOC, of course. This is the beginning screen. Yours, if you're using an older version, yours will be a lot darker of a blue, but the process is the same. So we go to File, we're going to create a new contract file. And it is creating the project or the contract file in the project subdirectory. So it's C EuroJOC, EuroJOC 2K15 projects directory. You can put the contract file wherever you want it. I'm going to call it demo contract. And I don't need to type the extension, but the extension would be CON, like you see it right here, .con. That is the indication of a contract file. Okay, so something happened here that I wasn't expecting, but it's saying that this unit price book is not available, so I need to change that. Okay, not a problem. And you'll see the other form here that opened up. These are the steps. It tells you step by step what you need to do to create your contract file. Okay? Now, I'm going to go through this briefly because it's pretty simple, really. You go to the Utilities menu, you go to the Preferences form. Now, it depends on where you are using EuroJOC, but in the United States, you would use display the component cost. You can turn on component selection if you like. Okay, if you like, you can display the weight and volume columns. There's not much data there. You can also turn on the crew and productivity columns if you like. Okay, so this information is complete. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. Now in Germany, you would not turn on any of these columns because that data does not exist. Okay, you go to System Setup, and this is going to fix the problem that it said that this file is not there. So I'm going to browse, and I'm going to go to let's see, I'm going to go to another subdirectory. I'm going to go to this subdirectory and open up a USA unit price book file. So I'm going to open up the third quarter of the Fort Lee book. Okay, and all I would have had to do is go into the Germany side and find the German unit price book. So it's the same process. Just select the Germany, and those price books ship with the product, so they should be already in your C:/EuroJOC /EuroJOC 2K15 UPB directory. Okay, now let's talk about coefficients. Now you need to know what your contract is saying here. When we started out this in Germany, the contracts were based on division by division by division. Okay, so if that's the type of contract you have, you're going to need to type in the factor R, which is regular working hours, and O is for overtime working hours. Now, lately, Germany and the United States have gone with using coefficient codes. So if you have one of these contracts, you should select this setting, and you're going to need to type in these factors for your estimate or proposal to be correct. Okay, so I'm just doing tab by tab, going through these tabs and setting it up. You don't need to do anything here on the contacts. Passwords, that's if you want to go in and change your password. Okay, default values, leave that alone. Facility information, I would come here and I would type in what you want to appear at the top left corner of the reports as you print out your reports. That's what this is for. Okay, save form settings. You don't need to do anything here, but this is where you can turn on and off whether the form is saved and restored. Okay, so later on you might want to return to the default. So what you'll do is you come here, you'll uncheck this, then you'll open that form again, and then you come here and turn it back on and it will save it. Okay, city cost indexes. This is available if you're using a national unit price book and you have a city cost index for Chicago or something. Typically in Germany we do not use it. In the United States it's not used because we have local factors that we use. Colors is not going to be existing on the older versions of EuroJOC, but this way I can change all the colors that you see on the form. And the main thing you should know here is you have different color sets. Color set 1 and 2 are populated. You see that it went to a gray form with no color. I have not created any more than 2 color sets. And you'll notice that the colors are not as harsh on your eyes. I think it's a much better and easier program to use if the blues are not really dark. So I'm going to close the preferences form and I'm ready to start creating a project and the estimates or proposals. So what I just did is basically many of the steps that are in this form. Okay, so you'll notice here F3, if I press the F3, it changes the language from one to another language. Like I'm just going to go through this. You see that now it's in German, now it's in Spanish, now it's in French, now it's in Italian, now it's in Portuguese, now it's in Polish, now it's in Turkish, and then we're back to the English version. Okay, you can resize this form. The reason I'm telling you this is up in the left corner you'll see EJ. So this is the EuroJOC super message box, and you can press the plus key and the font will increase, helping you. You can change the size of the form. You can change the language. There's some of the other EuroJOC super boxes have other things. You can even copy the contents of this form to the clipboard and print it from there if you like. Okay, so I have my demo contract file created. Now what I need to do is do a left click on the root node, do a right click on the root node to display the pop-up menu, and I'm going to go to project, add a project. Okay, so the project has been created in the upper right grid, and to get started I'm going to put a project ID number on it, and I'm going to call this demo 1, and I'm going to call this okay. Hit enter. You see that it populated or it transferred that information to the title tree. Everything over here is called the title tree because when you start out with a root, you come up with you keep branching down to other things. Now when I open this, I can double click on the file, or I can just click on the plus sign. That's the way I usually do it. Okay, I'm using the owner's version of the software right now, so I'm going to see estimate and proposal. Now you have to realize that the government or owner's estimator cannot create proposals. The only thing that you can do is open up a contractor proposal and look at it and print it. You cannot change it, you cannot copy information across the wall from a proposal to an estimate. You cannot copy from an estimate to a proposal. That is not allowed by the rules of JOC. So I'm going to do a left click on the node to select it. I'm going to do a right click on the node to bring up the pop-up menu, and I'm going to add an estimate. Okay, you see that it's in the lower right grid on the form, and I'm going to just call this demo estimate number 1. Okay, I'm going to take the window pane bar and move it to the left. You can see down in this grid it stores several things for you, several pieces of information once you've actually opened and used the estimate. Okay, so now I have the placeholder selected. Now it's always important when you're using the title tree is you do a left click on the node to select it. So you see that it's in the darker blue, and now you can double click on it anywhere here, or you can even double click on it down here in the grid. I typically just double click right on the icon, and we should see the estimate form. Okay, so there's the estimate form. Now you see that the window bars are hiding the UPB tree. Not a problem. All I have to do is click on a window bar and drag it wherever I want. Now if I click on this top bar and drag the whole stack down, you'll see it drags everything down and gives you more room in the UPB item grid. That's what this is. So again, to open up book 1, I click on the plus sign. I can click on the concrete. I can click on the section. I'm just picking something at random. Now you see, you have to read more about this in the user manual, but this is a group of items that also has modifiers or surcharges. So if I click on this, I'm going to see an orange grid open. Okay, now once you have found an item that you want, you can drag it into the estimate and put a quantity on. I see that I have a blank row in here. Don't worry about that for now. We'll come back and we'll delete that later. Okay, and I'm going to drag a surcharge or modifier item in there, and I'm going to put. Okay, so that's the beginning of using the estimate form. If you close it, the information that we have created will be transferred to the lower right grid. And you will also see that in the title tree that I also have the name of the estimate. The total value currently is 1,090 euros, and I don't know why. I need to change that so the currency value is not euros. I can go to utilities, display preferences, form, and go to the currency and change that to US dollar, and that will change that. Okay, and if I do I'll have to go and recalculate. I'll have to go into the estimate and come out. Okay, so now I'm in dollars. So I hope that gives you a initial view of getting started with EuroJOC, and thanks for your attention.